Hello, thank you for coming to my channel. I'm Anne Marie, and this is AM Astro, and we are working our way through the ACC basketball tournament in Charlotte, North Carolina. Um, we are now looking at round three, which are the games that are going to be played tomorrow, Thursday, March 13th. So, and that is the day of the eclipse, but that doesn't show up in any of these games because the eclipse doesn't happen until after midnight or around, well, it'll be after midnight in Charlotte. Um, and that's a pretty gnarly eclipse. Just to point that out. So now we are going to look at the Wake Forest versus North Carolina game. And if I pull up the chart, so Wake Forest is a lower seed. North Carolina had to beat whoever they played, and don't ask me now because I can't remember. I've looked at too many of these things. They played Notre Dame, right? They beat Notre Dame today, so they had to play into this game, and Wake Forest was just sitting there waiting for them because they're a lower seed. I guess I could pull up the seed. No, I can't. I don't know where it is. So, okay, Augie, come on, baby. Here we go. So here's the chart for Wake Forest versus North Carolina. No French kisses, no French kisses. Um, March 13th at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. And so because Wake Forest is the favored or lower seed, it gets the first cusp. And if you've been watching my videos, you know right off the bat that this is going to be one that we can't really put a lot of confidence in because Cancer is rising. And so we would need to use the dispositor of the moon for Lord One because we need the moon for the aspects that he's going to make. So for the flow of events. So the dispositor in Virgo is Mercury. So here we see Mercury, lovely, elevated, seated right on the cusp of the 10th house. But because he's Lord 1 and Lord 10, or because he's representing the favorites and the 10th cusp is for the favorites as well, it's a point, but it's not a big point. Okay. So we'll just say in the 10th house. And then its Antisha is 20 Virgo, 34 minutes. And so that is right here where we can already see very close to the moon. So the moon is going to be conjunct the Antisha of Lord 1. And we will get to that when we get to aspects. But in the 3rd house. Lord 10 is Mars, and we can see Mars approaching the cusp of the 1st house, which again, this is the same thing. So we've got Lord 1 and Lord 10 on the cusps of 1 and 10. And so that's another okay for Wake Forest. It's not as threatening as if they were on the cusp of the opposing team's houses. The Antisha of Mars is 11 Gemini 12 minutes, which is in the 11th house. Now we will look at North Carolina, and Lord 7 is North Carolina, and that is Saturn. Saturn is here in the 9th house, still combust. Poor Saturn. And its Antisha is 7 Libra 44. So on the cusp of the 4th. So that's his own house. So again, similar to what Mars and Mercury are doing, Saturn's Antisha is on the 4th cusp, which is his own house. So a point. And Lord 4 is Venus, but ding, 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 look where Venus is on the cusp of the 10th house. So, and it's 7:59. Now she is retrograde, but she's close enough. She's like a degree in 2 minutes. She's sitting on the cusp. So we're giving her lots of points for that. So that's a point for North Carolina possibly beating Wake Forest. That's the strongest placement so far. Okay. Well, yeah, of placements alone, not aspects. Her Antisha is 22 Virgo, which is here where the moon is possibly going to get. That's 5 degrees away from the moon, and that's about the maximum that we can do in these things. So we'll see. Okay, and then the moon is obviously we've talked about in the third house. I didn't look at moon's Antisha. Let's check that out. So the Antisha of the moon is 12 Aries 19. So that's so Lord 1 would be considered conjunct. No, it would never get there because Mercury is stationing to go retrograde on Friday. So no, that's not gonna, so it's never gonna reach 12. Okay, so we can ignore that. Okay. So then part of fortune, we do not look at part of fortune bodily. We look at part of fortune's Antisha, and it is 13 Sag 4. So in the 5th house. So not in play. Aspects, let's look at them. So the moon will move from 17 to 18. So that's a sextile to Mars, which is Lord 10, which is Wake Forest. And then it will go to 20 Virgo, which is conjunct the Antisha for Lord 1, which is Mercury, because we have to use the dispositor of the moon because it's a Cancer rising. So that's another point for Wake Forest. Then it goes to 22 Virgo, which is Lord 4's Venus's Antisha. And so that's a point for North Carolina. And then the final is if we, for the range, we can only go up to 5 degrees. And so pushing it here is, it will be in an opposition to Saturn, which is Lord 7, which is North Carolina. So what this kind of makes me think is that there is a strong possibility with Venus conjunct the midheaven, and then the way the moon is moving, I think it's very possible that Wake Forest is going to be ahead for the majority of the game, but then North Carolina will come back and win with those placements. So I don't know, stay tuned, we'll see, and I'll be back to do another one later. Thanks for watching, bye-bye.